Welcome to Rob's Artcade. I'm your host Rob, and I have a very special episode in store for my Player 2s. We're going to be drawing characters from the Avengers franchise, but we're going to do things a little different. My Player 2s actually had the opportunity to vote on what character we're going to be drawing. The choices were Captain America or Iron Man. So let's not waste any time. Let's see which character had the most votes. And there you have it, Player 2s. The character with the most votes is the Invincible Iron Man. But all you Captain America fans, don't worry. The Captain America class will be available as a bonus video for Patreon subscribers. Now I'm going to show all my Player 2s how to draw a very simplified version of Iron Man using only easy to draw simple shapes. Let's take a look at what we're going to be drawing. Okay, Player 2s, let's get started drawing Iron Man. We're going to be using the same three-step process we always use. The first step is the guideline step. I'll be using this red dry erase marker on this white dry erase board. When I draw in red, I want you to press very lightly with your pencils. We're going to go back in and erase that in a later step. First thing we're going to draw is a big circle. So this will be for the head. Now the head is turned into 3/4 view, so we're going to add a little guideline right here, kind of a curved line to separate both sides of the face, and then another slightly curved line down there. When we're done with that, we're going to draw a smaller circle right underneath there. Starting right about here, this would be about where the shoulder is, we're going to draw a rectangle and then a circle. Then we're going to draw another rectangle out here, and the rectangle is going to be larger at the top but smaller at the bottom. Then we're going to draw a circle right here for the other hand. Now in the original picture, Iron Man's hand is jutting out towards you, so it's going to be a little bit larger. This is called forced perspective. Now we've showcased forced perspective in earlier videos, but when something is closer to your face, it's going to be larger. So if I have my hand back here, it's going to be smaller, as opposed to when it comes forward like this, it's going to look larger. So we're going to go back to that arm momentarily. The next step, we're going to draw an oval right there, then a slightly smaller oval right here, followed by another slightly smaller oval right there, and then one more right there. So now we have the guidelines of the head, torso, legs, and arms. I'm going to add a few more details in the guideline step, just so it makes it easier when we get on to later steps. We're going to follow this curve that we did right here and do it throughout the whole body. So we're going to make that even, splitting the body in half right down there. We're going to add one rectangle here for the thumb, One rectangle here for the finger. Another slightly larger rectangle here for another finger. Rectangle here, the same size as this one for this one. And a smaller one for the pinky. Okay, this picture is a little bit harder to draw than some of the other ones that we've done, but you guys have done such amazing work in some of the other classes and stuff that I totally believe that you guys can handle it. If it becomes too difficult, pause the video, go back, rewind, take a look at the steps. If your picture doesn't look exactly like what I have up here, it's okay. Again, as I always say, we're learning a process. So it's not going to look perfect every time we do it, but the more you practice, the better you're going to get at it. So now, I'm going to blue. We have our guidelines all set up here. So we're going to start adding some details. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to draw a small line around here. We're going to take it up to here. Kind of like a letter U. Line. Line there. I want to make sure that I don't knock my board over. We're going to do a curve that follows this line right here. So make it kind of the same size. Bring it down around. We're going to do a square, a rectangle, excuse me, down at the bottom here. Then we're going to follow this to here. This to here. And we're going to close this off here. So as you can see, this is Iron Man's faceplate. Since we have this guideline here, we're just going to go around and we're going to do two rectangles. Now we're going to keep the rectangles in the space that we did when we separated both sides of the head. So you're going to have one here and one here. Okay, since the head is turned, we're going to have less space, so this is going to be smaller while that one's going to be larger. I'm going to follow the guidelines that we did over here. There we have Iron Man's head. The next step, we're going to work on his midsection. Okay, we have the circle right in the middle of his chest for his unibeam. That's where Tony Stark's heart is. We're going to follow this down and around to here, down and around to here, and around there. So that's his chest. So again, if I'm going too fast, down and around here, down and around there for the chest. We're going to do a rectangle right here. And inside the rectangle, we have the guideline right there that we're going to follow. We're going to do line up like that, line up there. So that is his core, his abs. We're going to draw a little line and bring it around to here for his back. Same thing on the other side. We'll come back to this and we'll finish up the midsection when we do the rest of the drawing. So right now you should have the head and a good part of the torso done. Again, follow the guideline here, which splits it down the middle for the 3/4 view. Again, he's turned. The next step, we're going to do this arm. All right. Again, one of the hardest things to draw is hands and fingers, but we're going to simplify the process. We already have our guideline here for the circle. Inside the circle, we're going to draw something like this. Down, around, and bring it around. So it kind of looks like a letter G without the one line on top of it. Then we're going to draw 1, 2, 3, 4. So 1 rectangle, 2, 3 rectangles, 3/4 of a rectangle right here, and we're going to bring it around to there. Again, down and around like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, if you're having trouble with that, pause the video, rewind it, follow it step by step. Okay, I know I'm going a little fast. bring that down around here. We're going to do a little rectangle right here for his wrist. A little line right down the middle of there. And we're going to follow our guideline with a slight little curve. So this will be his forearm, his hand. Since Iron Man is turned at a bit of an angle, you're not going to see his shoulder and his bicep because that's behind him. So we have the arm right here. We're going to add a couple little detail lines. 1, 2, 3. So this is the yellow part of his armor. Now we have one arm complete. The next step, we're going to do the other hand. Now we already have all our guidelines set up here, so this isn't going to be that difficult. First thing we're going to do is we're going to put a circle in the middle of here for his repulsor. And we're going to follow the rectangles that we did here. We're going to do a little curve at the bottom right there. Follow this line, curve it at the top. We're going to do the same thing for all the fingers. There you go. Thumb, finger, 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 finger. Now at the hand, we're going to do a little curve right there, curve right there, and then we're going to follow our guideline around. So we've got our 5 fingers, 2 curves at the bottom of the hand, and then we're just going to clean it up. Whatever space that we have between the fingers, we're just going to close that, and we're going to add 1, 2, 3 lines on each of the fingers. Alright, the next step, we have our rectangle right here that we did for the guideline. We're just going to make a little curve on the sides. Okay, so we're pretty much drawing Iron Man's armor in segments. So this is a piece, this is a piece, the fingers are a piece, the chest is a piece, so on and so forth. We're going to go back down here and we're going to draw a line and a curve, and we're going to follow the guideline that we did right there. So this will be for a shoulder pad. So kind of like the letter V, connect that right there. Again, follow our guideline right here, add a little curve. And then the one right here, for another part of his arm. And then a couple lines right there for the bicep. Again, drew a letter V right here for his shoulder, connected that, and followed our guidelines to connect the rest of the arm. Again, I know that this is more difficult than some of the other drawings, but I know you guys can handle it. Okay, so right now we have head, hand, other hand, both arms, chest almost done. We're going to go to the legs. Now the legs, there's a little bit more detail. We already have our guidelines. We're pretty much just following the guidelines, but all we're doing right now is just adding some shapes and stuff for his armor texture. So in between these two lines, we're going to draw a little line right there that connects the two. And we're going to bring that around right there. All right, we're going to make this line right here for the waist. Bring that line around right to there. And then even though we have the curve right here from that circle that we drew in the original guideline stage, we're just going to draw a little line that connects it. Inside here, inside the torso, 2 small lines for his armor. We're going to connect that right there. Okay, now we're going to go to the legs. Now, again, the forced perspective, this leg is coming out towards you. Below the knee, since his knee is bent, you're not going to see that. So you're just going to go over the line that we did here. And at the bottom, we're going to draw a little rectangle for his knee pad. We're going to follow this guideline around here. And we're going to draw a little rectangle right over there for his hip plate. Again, follow our guidelines. then a rectangle for the knee. The next step, we're going to follow the lines here. We're going to draw a curve, a small line here, and another curve there. Okay, we're going to try to make that the same size as this. So right where this hip is, we're going to do that for the leg right there. We're going to draw another rectangle here and 2 lines. Okay, so we trace over our guidelines, we added our rectangle for the knee, we added our little rectangle for the side for the hip, we added the detail here of the legs. Now you can tell, again, the armor is in segments, so we're breaking all the segments down, so eventually if you guys decide to color this, it's going to be easy to do, because anybody who knows Iron Man knows that his armor is red and yellow, so you can tell which spots are red, which spots are yellow. Final step in this stage is that we're going to do the knee. Alright, we're going to do the knee, and then follow our guidelines for the rest of the leg. So, we're going to do a rectangle, and then we're going to close off the sides a little bit. 2 lines right through. It's right there. That's a little bit of a mess, so I'm just going to redo it just to show you guys. Rectangle. 2 lines. Alright. We've got a line right here going around. We're going to follow that for his leg. We're going to follow the guidelines that we originally did here. Another rectangle with the 2 lines right there. So again, all we're doing is adding some details right now. Line here, whoops. We're going to forget I did that. Line here, bring it around. Rectangle right there, we have our knee. Next step. We're going to follow our guidelines that we did here, but we're going to make it a little more angular. So instead of a curve, it's going to be straight lines. So we're going to follow this. We're going to bring that down to about here. A little curve at the bottom. And then we're going to draw the foot over the lines that we did there. And there you have it. Step 2 is complete. Our guidelines are all done. We're going to go on to the third and final step, which is the finishing step. I'm going to use my black marker and trace over only the lines we need. So I'm only going to be tracing over the blue lines. Take a look right now and make sure that you followed all the steps so we can start inking this. First thing we're going to do, I'm going to start at the head and I'm going to work my way down. What I want to make sure too is that there's a lot of details here. Now a lot of people draw, they put their hand on the paper. So I have to be careful not to go like this and smear everything. So that makes everything tough to draw. In this stage with a dry erase board, I might end up erasing stuff if I do that. So just be very careful. We're going to start with the faceplate. Again, if things look a little odd and they don't look even, this is the stage where you can fix it. So I'm going to go along, and even if I see something small like that, I'm just going to straighten it out a little bit. So I'm going over the top of the faceplate, bottom of the faceplate, mouth. I'm going to stretch this out a little bit more. I'm going to fix that eye a little bit, make it a little larger. Follow all the guidelines. So there's the faceplate. Trace over here, I'm going to do the rest of the head. Then, here's the body, the midsection, chest piece, the shoulder, here's the back, gonna go to the middle, trace over that, clean this up a little bit, down and around here. Again, I know I'm going very fast, but I'm sure you guys did a great job, and all we're pretty much doing is we're only going over the guidelines in blue. So we're pretty much just tracing over a drawing that we already did, but we're just cleaning it up along the way. There's his core. Next step, we're going over his arm. There's the lines. hands, thumb, finger, 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 finger. This spot right here, I'm going to go over the leg, the knee, and to the other leg. All over the details. Other leg. And finally, the foot. Actually, and this is a good thing that I did this, I'm glad that this happened. I was not paying attention, I thought that the drawing was complete. So if I would have kept going and just erased all my pencil lines, I would have completely erased this arm. So as you're going along, make sure that you're tracing over all the lines that you're supposed to have. Now if you go through and you erase everything and stuff and you miss a couple segments and stuff, that's okay. You can go back in the video when something doesn't look right. Because the fact that this is on YouTube, you can see where you made your mistakes, go back and easily fix them. So I'm going to go over the bicep, his armor, other arm, and his hand. Pulsar. Now again, this is probably the most difficult drawing that we've done since we started these classes. But again, I have faith in you all. You all have been doing such amazing work that I think that you guys can handle it. I can't wait to see what you've done actually with this. So be sure to take a photo of yourself holding a picture of your artwork and send it to me at the social media links listed in the description below. I'll be more than happy to include it in the video. But I also want to see my Player 2's artwork. So this is kind of for me as well. And there you have it. Completed Iron Man picture. Double check, make sure that you have all your lines traced. You have the head, torso, legs, hands, arms. Give this a few minutes to dry, and when it's all dried, erase all your pencil lines. After that, completely finished, you can color it and do whatever you want with it. Great job, Player 2s. I can't wait to see how you handle this episode. Awesome job, Player 2s. Now we're going to get to the Classic Game Showcase momentarily, but first, here's a message for my Patreon subscribers. On this episode of the Classic Game Showcase, we're going to spend a little time with one of my favorite arcade games, Captain America and the Avengers. Released in 1991 by Data East, the side-scrolling beat-em-up and shooter featured Marvel's Avengers in 4-player simultaneous play. Players select one of 4 members of the Avengers: Vision, Iron Man, Captain America, and Hawkeye, each possessing superior hand-to-hand combat skills, as well as the ability to use a ranged attack, such as throwing Captain America's shield or firing Iron Man's repulsor blasts. Other Avengers such as the Wasp, Quicksilver, and Namor the Submariner appear in supporting roles, offering power-ups to assist the player's characters. Most levels feature side-scrolling fighting, but occasionally players take flight for flying and shooting sequences. The plot of this game is typical superhero fare. The Red Skull has assembled an army of supervillains and other henchmen in a plot to take over the world. Along with battling waves of the Red Skull's robotic minions, players also face Marvel villains such as Whirlwind, the Grim Reaper, the Mandarin, Ultron, and more before they eventually battle the Red Skull himself. I can't tell you how many quarters I plunked in this game in the arcades, and I was elated when I found out this game was being ported to home systems such as the Sega Genesis, Super Nintendo, and Game Gear, while a different game of the same name was released for the Nintendo Entertainment System. Unfortunately, this game has not been ported over to any modern systems, so the only way to play this is to either dust off a classic game system or find one in an arcade. If you're a Marvel fan, I highly recommend spending some time with this game. You won't be disappointed. Till next time. And that's a wrap on another episode of Rob's Arcade. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share this video to help this channel grow. Also be sure to follow Rob's Arcade at the social media links listed in the description below. Now as far as the next episode goes, well, that one's a bit of a mystery. Until then, keep drawing, and I'll see you in the next episode of Rob's Arcade.